Let's go ahead and just dive into the first part of the news here. There we go. So we've got Amazon's new solution provider portal. Starting April 10th, Amazon service providers and account managers must register on the new solution provider portal to retain access to client Seller Central accounts. Failure to register means losing access, creating significant disruptions, especially for smaller providers managing multiple accounts. Adding to the challenge, names containing Amazon, AMZ, or Prime potentially could be blocked from registration because they're trademarked terms from Amazon. Sellers and service providers need to act fast, complete the necessary migration steps, and prepare for potential hurdles in this new system. So definitely big changes for service providers and probably for sellers as well, because almost all of us use some kind of service provider that is going to be affected by this. So you're going to have to rework how they're getting access to your account. Mm-hmm. Now, Dana, before we went live, you mentioned you already went through the registration. So if you want to tell us a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, so it's just a whole bunch of steps, and you have to provide them information. You have to sign 3 documents, if I remember correctly. My wife actually did probably 70% of it, and then I did the last bit. But it took her, I'd say combined, it's probably an hour's worth of work, maybe. It's hard for me to gauge that because I wasn't doing the bulk of it, but I probably spent 20 minutes getting the rest of the data and signing the documents and stuff like that. Overall, it was fairly painless. A lot more painless. Excuse me, a lot more painless than I would expect coming from Amazon dropping something like this, you know? Mm-hmm. So it seems like they actually thought this out. And so here's what I'm not sure of. Some companies like myself use a unique email for each client so that there's no overlap of information or anything like that.
Yep.
So I did this through Ecom Triage, but does that then cascade down to every email that I've done for my clients? I would wager not. And so I think I will probably have a problem despite having gone through the process. And I've not been approved yet, but I'd guess that I'm going to have a problem, a serious problem coming up soon here.
Yeah, you would hope that they would approve your domain name, so anything at ecomtriage.com would be approved if they approve your account.
Yeah, maybe so. But I don't actually know. I've got the SPP page up right now. Oh, interesting. So Todd, you're on it there. So yep. You were saying that it sent you to the Seller Partner API, which is, this is clearly a part of that. But in order to become an approved seller partner, I believe it's a completely different process than this. I think this is like probably a much lighter version would be my guess, because to my knowledge, this does not give me access to SP API.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Yeah, no, for some reason it's just developed inside of the Selling Partner API, which is a little strange, but I guess they're probably trying to merge the service providers and the solution providers into one portal, I guess would be what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. It's probably like a giant database consolidation and saying, okay, all service providers, whether you are SaaS or part of the Amazon external economy that is not actually selling products but selling services, we're all going to register in this place, and we're just going to track everyone over here versus having multiple databases. So that makes sense for pushing everyone that way. What I find kind of interesting is that now's the time that they're going to go ahead and do this. I mean, service providers on Amazon have been around for forever. And I look at this similar to registering an Amazon account. right? Where a selling account, where it's like sellers have to go through these hoops, jump through these hoops, and it does take an hour, and you have to provide all that. You have to, provide your firstborn as collateral to get on the platform, and
Yeah.
and jump through all the hoops. And now they're looking at it going, okay, well, in the email, they're specifically citing safety concerns for Amazon sellers, right? So that means
Yeah.
when I look at this, or like when I read that email, it's like, okay, some Amazon sellers are probably getting scammed by service providers, and they're saying,
Yeah.
okay, it's the Wild West. We're gonna, there's regulatory concerns here. We're going to make everyone register and be able to hold someone accountable, right? Because it's probably all about accountability. Someone got scammed from some unique scam that we have no idea about because we're on the up and up service provider side of things.
Mhm.
But that's what I see when I read this email.
Yeah. And, the other thing is I actually support that, because I would think of it as like maybe Fiverr, right? Where everyone is registered on Fiverr. And if you get scammed by someone, you can go to Fiverr or Alibaba, for instance. You can say, hey, look, these guys didn't do what we agreed upon. Here's my evidence. Cool. You got trade assurance. Here's your refund, right? Or whatever it is. I think this is a good thing, right? Will it disrupt us? Yes, it will. But guess what? Amazon's been disrupting sellers and service providers for ages. This is just the next one. So I can't remember who I was talking to. I think I was on a podcast, and he asked me, I was on a podcast, and he asked me, like, what do you think is going to be the thing for 2025 to 2026? And I basically told him, look, you evolve with the future, you die in the past. And it's always been that way. And I am a shining example of that with my private label. I didn't evolve with the future. I knew it was coming. I was there when it happened, and I was there when it passed me by. So, and my private label's dead because I didn't evolve. So this is just going to be that for service providers, and like I think it will cause problems, but ultimately I think it's a good thing.
When you brought up talking about those scams and the deliverables, right? I think that's a major one. I know so many sellers that have had negative experiences with service providers where it's like, I just paid you, we'll say $2,500 for a full image stack, and I got hot garbage. Like, what's my recourse here? And I actually know, I have very close friends where that happened to, and they just received like a whole bunch of AI images that they could have made themselves.
Yeah.
And they were out $2,500, and they followed up with the agency, and then they just ghosted them. Right. And it's like, well, so that, as soon as you said that, that's like the light bulb clicked on for me right there, being like, this could definitely be a source reason as to why this happened. Now, it'll be interesting to see how Amazon delegates, or how Amazon will enforce this, right? Because like from the PPC side of things, for my industry, it's like, I hired you to maintain my ads and do a good job. And it's like, well, I'm only as good as your conversion rate. So yes, I was working in the account. I was doing exactly what you told me to do, but the results didn't happen, not because of me, but because of, we'll say, external market factors, your offer, those kinds of things. I was working on the account, but we didn't get the results we wanted. How does that get enforced, right? Because then it's like, I'm still doing the work, but I'm not getting the results that we wanted.
Yeah. It's to me too. It kind of, you would think it opens up Amazon a little bit to lawsuits and stuff if one of the providers in their network then scams someone. It brings some legal issues on Amazon, I would think.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, Todd. That makes me wonder, is there going to be a database, a public database of everyone here? Like, are we all going to be part? Are we going to go from, 300 solution providers on the what's the page? You said it earlier, Neil. It's the page that you can go to basically shop approved providers.
Yeah, the service provider network.
Is that what it's actually? Okay, fine. Yeah, I thought it had another name. But are we going to now go from 300 people listed there to like 30,000 because there's so many of us that just even me as an individual, I have access to people's accounts because I've just helped them. Does that mean that me as Dana Coleman needs to get approved on SPP? I don't know. I don't know what to expect, to be honest.
I think so. Yes. I mean, if you're doing any kind of service work for someone, like if you're managing someone's account or something like that, even if you're only doing it for one person, technically you would have to register and be approved to continue doing that. Otherwise, you're going to risk getting that access shut down.
Interesting.
Sorry, one more thing. Like an interesting topic is, so like within on the Amazon seller side, accounts get suspended, accounts get banned, like that kind of thing happens. And like once that happens, you get, that's exactly what happens, right? It happens all the time. And so then like once you get banned, you're on a blacklist. And if you try to create another Amazon account, Amazon says, no, you can't do that, right? Like you're shut down. And so now for the service providers, that can also be something that happens where like during the process, I'm sure they wanted everything about you, right? Like I haven't gone through the process. I'm not going to have to go through the process because I'm just at the executive level, but not the owner. So I'm not responsible for filling in all that paperwork. But I'm sure they want, all of copy of your passport, driver's license, banking information, all that kind of stuff to be like, okay, we're gonna be able to trace you. So if you do get flagged, we have a blacklist that we can now enforce. And like I remember probably back in like 2015 or 2016, Helium 10 came out with the selling course, and Kevin King had a blacklist going, and it was just like suppliers not to do it. And there was no kind of like widely accepted list going. And so it was like, okay, well, here's an actual list of, companies you probably want to avoid. And I think all in all, that's also positive for the sellers. But at the same time, how did they get appealed if you do somehow end up on that list as well?
Right. So then if we take this a step further, are they going to make Amazon sellers pay providers through a whole new monetary platform and then hold
with a 15% referral fee?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then raise fees every year.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Let's hope not.
Neither.
I wouldn't put it past them. That's for sure. But you
or
raise
even a yearly fee to maintain your list.
A
yearly fee to maintain a status on the list, right? Saying, okay, you're a registered service provider. Here's your yearly fee, just like an Amazon account.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for example, let's take I think his name's Ed Rosenberg. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
He would probably be on the blacklist, right? For sure.
You would think so.
So how's that going to affect his business? Because if he can't get registered in there, even though he is providing legitimate services for a lot of people, to Amazon, he crossed the line. To a lot of people, he didn't cross the line. He was doing what needed to get done to fix Amazon's mistakes. But, that's going to majorly affect his business potentially.
Yeah. But blacklist in the future, service provider fees going to Amazon in the future.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think it's a good thing, right? I do think it's a good thing. It's kind of bringing some regulatory into the space where it kind of has been the Wild West, where if you get ripped off, you're kind of left with your hands out, and what do you do?
Yeah. I would agree.
I would agree. I just hope that they don't decide to, well, you know what? We're profiting on the seller side. Let's profit on the agency side as well. And I wouldn't put it past them to do that.
That seems like an easy one, and like
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep, for sure.